decision is my own. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my fathers will created me to be. The power of decision is my own. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my fathers will created me to be. The power of decision is my own. The power of decision is my own. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here right outside of Baxter Springs, Kansas on the Spring River. I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 152 out of A Course in Miracles. We're studying from the version printed by Foundation for Inner Peace here on Friday, May the 31st of 2024. The power of decision is my own. It's trying to get us to recognize that nothing happens to us without our own consent, without our own will. Is that the word I want to use? That we're the deciding factor. Our power of thought, the power of the mechanism of decision is ours. No one takes that from us. The power of decision is my own. No one can suffer loss unless it be his own decision. No one suffers pain except his choice selects this state for him. No one can grieve, nor fear, nor think him sick unless these are the outcomes that he wants. And no one dies without his own consent. Nothing occurs but represents your wish, and nothing is omitted that you choose. Here is your world, complete in all details. Here is its whole reality for you, and it is only here salvation is. You may believe that this position is extreme and too inclusive to be true. Yet can truth have exceptions? If you have the gift of everything, can loss be real? Can pain be part of peace or grief of joy? Can fear and sickness enter in a mind where love and perfect holiness abide? Truth must be all-inclusive if it be the truth at all. Accept no opposites and no exceptions, for to do so is to contradict the truth entirely. Salvation is the recognition that the truth is true, and nothing else is true. This you have heard before, but may not yet accept both parts of it. Without the first, the truth is true. Without the first, the second has no meaning, and nothing else is true as the second. So, this you have heard before, but you may not yet accept both parts of it. Without the first, the second has no meaning, but without the second is the first no longer true. Truth cannot have an opposite. This cannot be too often said and thought about. Truth cannot have an opposite. Truth cannot have an opposite. What's the opposite of truth? It's a nothing. It's an illusion, which isn't truth. Truth cannot have an opposite. This cannot be too often said and thought about. For if what is not true is true as well as what is true, then part of truth is false, and truth has lost its meaning. Nothing but the truth is true, and what is false is false. This is the simplest of distinctions, yet the most obscure. But not because it is a difficult distinction to perceive. It is concealed behind a vast array of choices that do not appear to be entirely your own, and thus the truth appears to have some aspects that belie constancy, but do not seem to be but contradictions introduced by you. As God created you, you must remain unchangeable, with transitory states by definition false. And that includes all shifts in feeling, alterations in conditions of the body and the mind, in all awareness and in all response. This is the all-inclusiveness which sets the truth apart from falsehood, and the false kept separate from the truth as what it is. Is it not strange that you believe to think you made the world you see is arrogance? God made it not. Of this you can be sure. What can he know of the ephemeral, the sinful and the guilty, the afraid, the suffering and lonely, and the mind that lives within a body that must die? You but accuse him of insanity to think he made a world where such things seem to have reality. He is not mad, yet only madness makes a world like this. To think that God made chaos contradicts his will, invented opposites to truth, and suffers death to triumph over life. All this is arrogance. Humility would see at once these things are not of him. And can you see what God created not? To think you can is merely to believe you can perceive what God willed not to be. And what could be more arrogant than this? Let us today be truly humble and accept what we have made as what it is. The power of decision is our own. Decide but to accept your rightful place as co-creator of the universe, and all you think you made will disappear. What rises to awareness then will be all that there ever was, eternally as it is now. And it will take the place of self-deception made but to usurp the altar to the Father and the Son. Today we practice true humility, abandoning the false pretense by which the ego seeks to prove it arrogant. Only the ego can be arrogant, but truth is humble in acknowledging its mightiness. But truth is humble in acknowledging its mightiness, its changelessness, and its eternal wholeness, all-encompassing, God's perfect gift to his beloved Son. We lay aside the arrogance which says that we are sinners, guilty and afraid, ashamed of what we are, and lift our hearts in true humility, instead to him who has created us immaculate, like to himself in power and in love and in purity. The power of decision is our own, and we accept of him that which we are and humbly recognize the Son of God. To recognize God's Son implies as well that all self-concepts have been laid aside and recognized as false. Their arrogance has been perceived. And in humility, the radiance of God's Son, his gentleness, his perfect sinlessness, his Father's love, his right to heaven and release from hell are joyously accepted as our own. Now do we join in glad acknowledgement that lies are false and only truth is true. We think of truth alone as we arise and spend 5 minutes practicing its ways, encouraging our frightened minds with this: the power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Then will we wait in silence, giving up all self-deceptions as we humbly ask ourselves that he reveal himself to us. And he who never left will come again to our awareness, grateful to restore his home to God as it was meant to be. In patience, wait for him throughout the day, and hourly invite him with the words with which the day began, concluding it with this same invitation to yourself. God's voice will answer, and he will speak for you and for your Father. He will substitute the peace of God for all your frantic thoughts, the truth of God for self-deceptions, and God's Son for your illusions of yourself. So we're to spend 2 5-minute periods, morning and evening, and then an hourly remembrance. And he doesn't tell you how long to spend on your hourly remembrance and thanksgiving. You could give it 5 minutes if you wanted, but he's not requiring that. He just says, take a moment on the hour and give thanks to God, and remember, the power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Okay, well, let's go look at our text reading. And we are in chapter 16, the forgiveness of illusions. And we read paragraph 9 in section 5, the choice for completion. So let's pick up there in paragraph 9. And while you're turning there, let me tell you about what's going on around the world. European Neighbors Day. European Neighbors Day. So I picked a European country. In Switzerland, there is a people named the Romanche people, and they have their own language, and their word for peace is Pasch. Pasch. So, Pasch. Be with us. National Autonomous Vehicle Day. Reminds me of Elon Musk and the Tesla vehicles that are autonomous driving. National Macaroon Day. National Meditation Day. You know, that's what we're doing every day. Let me just give you a real quick in Kriya Yoga, a particular meditation that I use is as we inhale, you can visualize bringing energy up your spinal cord to your crown chakra, and as you exhale, let it go back down to your root chakra, and do that as a meditation. I do it often while I'm doing my lessons. So I'm just kind of sharing with you a little bit about a particularly wonderful type of meditation introduced to the West by Paramahansa Yogananda, who was a follower of Babaji. And anyway, it's called Kriya Yoga meditation. Fire yoga, fire breathing, breath yoga, and fire yoga. Okay, here, let's see what else. National Save Your Hearing Day. Wear earplugs when you're working around loud noise like chainsaws. National Smile Day. That ought to be every day, huh? National Speak in Complete Sentences Day. Necrotizing Fasciitis Awareness Day, which is a flesh-eating disease that gets into your skin if you have a cut on it. So be aware if you're going swimming in a lake or something. What You Think Upon Grows Day. And that's an Eastern concept that what you focus on expands. So use that when you're trying to understand and keep your attention focused on it, and it'll expand no matter what it is. What You Think Upon Grows Day. World No Tobacco Day. Congratulations for all you folks that have quit smoking tobacco. World Parrot Day. I used to have an African gray, Pistachus erathicus. His name was Milagro. And then I had one named Jimmy, who was a harlequin macaw, and that's a Ararana. And they're from South America and Paraguay. The African grays are from Africa, as their name says. The white gold, the sweet cherry. White gold sweet cherry out of Edible Landscaping. White gold is self-fertile. It is cold hardy in both midwinter and spring frost situations. It is highly tolerant to cherry leaf spot and resistant to bacterial canker situations. White gold yields heavily and resists cracking in rainy weather. a very good pollinator for other sweet cherries. Space 10-foot circles for dwarfs, 15-foot for semi-dwarf, and 25-foot spacing for standard trees. Zones 4B through 7. The white gold sweet cherry, and it is a Prunus avium. And our word for peace out of the Romanche is Pasch. Okay, now let's pick up in paragraph 9. The appeal of hell is chapter 16, section 5. The appeal of hell lies only in the terrible attraction of guilt which the ego holds out to those who place their faith in littleness. The conviction of littleness lies in every special relationship, for only the deprived could value specialness. The demand for specialness and the perception of the giving of specialness as an act of love would make love hateful. The real purpose of the special relationship is strict accordance with the ego's goals, is to destroy reality and substitute illusion. For the ego is itself an illusion, and only illusions can be the witnesses to its, in quote, reality. 10. If you perceive the special relationship as a triumph over God, would you want it? Let us not think of its fearful nature, nor of the guilt it must entail, nor of the sadness and the loneliness. For these are only attributes of the whole religion of separation. The religion of separation. Unfortunately, many religions are the religion of separation. For these are only attributes of the whole religion of separation, and of the total context in which it is thought to occur. The central theme in its litany to sacrifice is that God must die so you can live, and it is this theme that is acted out in the special relationship. Through the death of yourself, you think you can attack another self and snatch it from the other to replace the self that you despise. And you despise it because you do not think it offers the specialness that you demand. And hating it, you have made it little and unworthy because you are afraid of it. How can you grant unlimited power to what you think you have attacked? So fearful has the truth become to you that unless it is weak and little and unworthy of value, you would not dare to look upon it. You think it safer to endow the little self you made with power you wrested from truth, triumphing over it and leaving it helpless. See how exactly is this ritual enacted in the special relationship. An altar is erected in between two separate people, on which each seeks to kill his self, and on his body raise another self to take its power from his death. Over and over and over this ritual is enacted, and it is never completed, nor ever will be completed. The ritual of completion cannot complete, for life arises not from death, nor heaven from hell. 12. Whenever any form of special relationship tempts you to seek for love in ritual, remember, love is content, and not form of any kind. The special relationship is a ritual of form, aimed at raising the form to take the place of God at the expense of content. There is no meaning in the form, and there will never be. The special relationship must be recognized for what it is, a senseless ritual in which strength is exacted from the death of God, and invested in his killer as the sign that form has triumphed over content and love has lost its meaning. Would you want this to be possible, even apart from its evident impossibility? Let's read that again. The special relationship must be recognized for what it is, a senseless ritual in which strength is extracted from the death of God and invested in his killer as the sign that form has triumphed over content and love has lost its meaning. Would you want this to be possible, even apart from its evident impossibility? If it were possible, you would have made yourself helpless. God is not angry. He merely could not let this happen. You cannot change his mind. No rituals that you have set up in which the dance of death delights you can bring death to the eternal, nor can your chosen substitute for the wholeness of God have any influence at all upon it. See in the special relationship nothing more than a meaningless attempt to raise other gods before him, and by worshiping them to obscure their tininess and his greatness. In the name of your completion, you do not want this. In the name of your completion, you do not want this. For every idol that you raise to place before him stands before you in place of what you are. Salvation lies in the simple fact that illusions are not fearful because they are not true. They but seem to be fearful to the extent to which you fail to recognize them for what they are. And you will fail to do this to the extent to which you want them to be true. And to the same extent you are denying truth, and so are failing to make the simple choice between truth and illusion, God and fantasy. Remember this, and you will have no difficulty in perceiving the decision as just what it is, and nothing more. 15. The core of the separation illusion lies simply in the fantasy of destruction of love's meaning. And unless love's meaning is restored to you, you cannot know yourself who share its meaning, because you're a love being. Separation is only the decision not to know yourself. Separation is only the decision not to know yourself. This whole thought system is a carefully contrived learning experience designed to lead away from truth and into fantasy. Yet for every learning that would hurt you, God offers you correction and complete escape from all its consequences. The decision whether or not to listen to this course and follow it is but the choice between truth and illusion. For here is truth, separated from illusion and not confused with it at all. How simple does this choice become when it is perceived as only what it is? For only fantasies make confusion in choosing possible, and they are totally unreal. And our last paragraph, 17, finish this section. This year is thus the time to make the easiest decision that ever confronted you, and also the only one. You will cross the bridge into reality simply because you will recognize that God is on the other side and nothing at all is here. It is impossible not to make the natural decision as this is realized. Okay, wow. And tomorrow we'll continue this idea. We'll be in section 6, the bridge to the real world. So let's make our crossing to the bridge to the real world. It doesn't require us to die, but it does require us to use the power of decision. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Leave idols and false images of ourselves behind and accept the truth of our oneness with innocence, with love, with purity, with God. And don't try to usurp His power. Don't try to think that you can make decisions on your own without asking for help. It only gets you in trouble because you'll be asking ignorance to show you what to do ignorantly. Okay. In just a quick review, we think of truth alone as we arise and spend 5 minutes practicing its ways, encouraging our frightened minds with this. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Then will we wait in silence. giving up all self-deceptions as we humbly ask ourselves that He reveal Himself to us. And He who never left will come again to our awareness, grateful to restore His home to God as it was meant to be. In patience wait for Him throughout the day and hourly invite Him with the words with which the day began, concluding it with the same invitation to yourself. God's voice will answer, for He speaks for you and for your Father. He will substitute the peace of God for all your frantic thoughts, the truth of God for self-deception, and God's Son for your illusion of yourself. Okay, well, thank you again for joining me out here. It looks like when the river was high, all the debris hit that tree and knocked the bark off of it. Sitting kind of underneath the shade of a couple cottonwood trees. The power of decision is my own. 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 This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. The power of decision is my own. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. The power of decision is my own. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. The power of decision is my own. 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 This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. And Pasch, or is it Pasch? I think it's Pasch. In Romansh, Pasch. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Pasch.